and welcome. You're watching Business Today Television. I'm Sakshi Batra. Well, this is a special edition where we are going to be focusing on the election season. Of course, that's kick-started today. Over the next 45 days, we will see India and Indians keenly track what is really happening at the poll booths, which are the states, the cities that are going to polls, and what is the action around it. But does it also mean a lot of opportunity for stock market investors at large? Of course, we've seen political parties come out with a lot of promises in their election manifestos, and therefore a lot of these stocks have started to buzz already. To discuss with us and to help us understand how do you as investors really make the most of the election season as well? I'm joined by Mr. Arun Kejriwal. He's a stock market expert and you see him often on our channel as well. Mr. Kejriwal, thank you so much for taking the time out for this discussion. First up, give us a sense of, how are you really looking at this election theme building up, and how should a stock market investor really look at these? Which are the top sectors that are now springing up into action?
Thanks, Sakshi, for having me over. Just a couple of points which I would like to bring our readers up to is a very quick gist of the manifestos declared by political parties without taking their names. One has promised a lot of freebies, yet another wants India to give up its nuclear armament that it has and acts as a deterrent to two of our immediate neighbors. Yet another party talks of abolishing things like CAA, NRC, and whatnot. None of these things lead you anywhere in the stock market. I believe what matters to the stock market from a political manifesto perspective is the fact that infrastructure, housing for all, water, clean drinking water, sanitation, etc., are the key themes which impress our market. So just wanted to put this in perspective, that from a manifesto perspective, it's a continuity that is being talked about, building on the last 10 years that we have seen the nation progressing.
Absolutely, and of course we will focus on all of these themes and probably help our viewers really understand which way should they be looking at, perhaps which are the kind of stocks that not just for this season but even for the long term that they can include in their portfolios for a long term story. So let's start off with the with the sector that you mentioned first, affordable housing and housing for all. Since this is going to be the focus, what are the kind of stocks that one should be really looking at? Is this space something that looks interesting from the medium to long-term perspective for viewers?
Absolutely, Sachi. And here we will have two broad sectors which will be playing an important part. One is housing finance companies which are actually giving a loan to the investor, a loan to the homeowner who wants to have a house, a roof for himself. And second is people who are actually building these homes. Both these sectors, part of real estate, part of housing finance companies, is something that you should look at. It's not just from a manifesto point of view, it's from the need of the hour. And there has been a lot of tweaking which has been done as far as the rules of housing finance, the interest subvention that the government gives, and the value of the real estate, the carpet area, etc., which qualifies under the affordable housing scheme. They have all been tweaked over time. I'm sure if something else needs to be tweaked, expect the government to respond in a timely manner to ensure that people get the benefit of this.
Okay, so what are the key stocks that you have selected from this key theme of housing finance, affordable housing, maybe real estate as well, that investors can really look at?
So, Sakshi, from the housing finance, there is a company, PNB Housing, which looks very attractive. The stock has been doing well over recent times. They had a mega rights issue, I think about 6 months ago, from where the stock has appreciated significantly. I believe anybody looking to invest in this company should have a year's perspective. It's not a stock for today, tomorrow, or for punting, but this is something which can give you decent money over the medium term, and it should do well. This is not to suggest that this is the only company in the housing sector. There would be many more, but when you have to choose, you choose a limited number of stocks. You don't give a very large basket because that confuses people. From the real estate pack, there is a Noida or a NCR based company which I would like to put my bets on. That is Signature Global. It is a recently listed company less than 7, 8 months ago. But this looks like a stock where you could put your money. They are into affordable housing, and they have the advantage where whatever they build is sold through application on the internet, and they seem to be doing quite well. Please also understand that none of the land parcels are given to them by any state government agency. They have to buy land from the open market, which ensures that unless they are efficient, they can't make money.
Okay, so we have two stocks from this broad theme of affordable housing and housing for all. One is a housing finance company, PNB Housing, and the other one is a real estate player, that's Signature Global. On your screens, you can see the performance last 6 months. We've also seen a stellar performance, 136% increase in Signature Global shares is what you've already seen. In the last 1 year, there has been an even substantial move. 173% is what this stock has really given to all its investors. PNB Housing, just to give you a sense of how the stock has moved over the last 6 months odd, there is a flattish trend, but when we talk about the last 1 year move, you will see a 78% surge on PNB Housing. Long term, these two stocks can definitely be an asset to your portfolio. When it comes about housing for all and affordable housing, remember these are poll promises which will be implemented over the next course of 5 years for whichever party that comes to power as well. So keep an eye on the long term when you're investing in such stocks. The next theme that you did highlight in your initial answer, sir, is the focus on water, on sewage, on cleanliness. Those are the kind of focuses that the poll promises have also highlighted. Is there a stock that you've highlighted, that you've chosen from this basket, that one can focus on?
Absolutely. So, Sakshi, one important thing to be borne in mind is that this particular sector is a fairly large sector. It includes drinking water that is provided to every household. It includes removing the sewage water from the household, from communities, to be properly treated and then disposed of. It also includes sanitation that is needed in our metros, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 towns, etc., etc. Now, there is a company which is, again, recently listed, EMS Limited, which I like. This company provides sewage treatment. It actually does the last mile connectivity where it takes the sewage from the household, from the community, and treats it and then disposes it off. So that last mile connectivity becomes the key. You have a number of players in this segment, but my pick is EMS. It has had a little volatile period where it went up very sharply after listing and then has corrected. At this value, there is appreciation that is expected over the next 12 months period. Looking at the kind of projects that it has, the order book that it has, the activity that it does, and the promoter. The promoter is a ex-bureaucrat, hands-on engineer who worked with Jal Nigam in UP. And I believe that anybody who comes from that sort of a background and has turned entrepreneur would do better than somebody who sets up a business himself without the experience.
Okay, so clean drinking water, sewage facilities, all of this could be looked at from EMS Limited perspective, a player that you can look at from the long-term perspective. Even in the last 1 year odd, we've seen about a 50% surge is what the company has really displayed. Last 1 month also, there has been some ticks on the higher side as well. So a 57% surge over the last one period, even though the journey has been volatile, just like how Mr. Kejriwal pointed out. But over the next 12 months odd, there could be enough and more opportunity for investors on that front. So we've discussed three stocks already. We've discussed PNB Housing Finance. We've discussed also Signature Global from the real estate space, and from the waterways treatment space, it is EMS Limited. The other one that I also wanted to ask you is the focus on the rural recovery that almost all parties really focus on alleviating poverty, on rural recovery, and the sectors that we usually see or gauge rural recovery from in the stock markets is via FMCG space as well. Now, this space has been a laggard over the last 1.5 years odd. There hasn't been a substantial move. There have been very select stocks that have actually turned out performers, but that is also because of their own fundamentals. It's not a sectoral tailwind that has really worked in favor of the entire sector. What do you foresee going forward from here? And is there a stock from this space that you'd like to highlight too?
Absolutely, Sachi. I believe the one and only stock you can pick from this basket is ITC. So it's a very unusual name when you talk of FMCG. But let me just explain why my pick ITC. An interesting development that happened about a month or two ago was the fact that about 17,000 crores of equity was sold by BAT, who was the erstwhile promoter of this company, and it was absorbed. The selling price was about 405, and we haven't seen any impact on price, even though such a large block deal was done. What this also does for the stock is it ensures that the free float goes up. It ensures that there is plenty of liquidity available, and the overhang that the stock had that BAT could be a seller or there could be selling pressure in this stock is done away with. What does this stock offer to an investor? There is talk that sooner or later the hotel business of ITC will be demerged from this company, which will do tremendous value unlocking for investors. The announcements in the manifestos which point to whether you call it freebies, whether you call it alleviating poverty to some extent, or improving the spending power of rural economy, all of this benefit will go to ITC amongst other FMCG players as well. The added attraction of the value unlocking from ITC hotels tilts my choice towards ITC Limited. The share has now been moving in a broad range of, say, 405 to 435, but this is substantially higher than what you saw last year when ITC was a laggard. But it seems to be getting its mojo back all over again. Therefore, my pick ITC.
Okay. And the last stock that you'd like to discuss on the show when it comes to be the top 5 election stocks that we are discussing on the show?
India is all about infrastructure. India is all about import, export, trade. And the largest player in import, export, where logistics is concerned, is the ports. So Adani Ports is a company which has a 25% market share. It has a brand new port which they set up 10, 12 years ago in Mundra. They have ports across the western and the eastern coast of India. They also have a port overseas, and which is a strategic port. So looking at all this, if we talk of India growing, if we are to talk of India becoming the third largest global economy, crossing 5 trillion and then 10 trillion, the port plays a very, very important part. I had the good fortune of visiting Mundra just a couple of days back, and what I saw as the improvement, the facilities that have been added in this port since my last visit, which was for Adani Power when they went public, it's simply mind-boggling. It's if I could use a sentence, for every one human being or person that you saw, you had more than 1,000 containers all around you, which
Right.
gives you the size of the port and the activity at the port. I believe this is a long-term play. This will be a proxy to India's foreign trade, and also a proxy to the infrastructure growth that happens in the country. So this is my fifth pick from the list.
Okay, got that. So there you have it, viewers. We've discussed 5 different stocks from all different sectors that can give you a diversified view on the kind of stocks that you can look at amid the election season. Thank you so much, Mr. Kejriwal, for being with us on the show and discussing all these wonderful stock ideas. Always a pleasure to host you on Business Today. With that, viewers, we wrap up this special edition, but do stay tuned, as Business Today will continue to get you all the action around elections and also coverage from the world of business and finance. Infosys will be coming out with its numbers. We've seen good numbers come out from TCS.